Welcome back. It's time for The Way It Is, and today we're focusing on the BBI, and the papers have led with that particular story from the Star, the Standard and the Daily Nation. We're being told about what, of course, we're awaiting the report on Tuesday, but there's a lot of speculation about it, and we have had sentiments from various politicians. I'll give you a few examples. NAK Kenya leader Martha Karua said the term limit is to ensure that nobody presides over a government for more than 2 terms, and she was saying this, warning the president, saying that he is her friend and he should not actually try to pursue that, extending his term through being a prime minister. And then you're told by Emurua Dikir member MP Johanna Ngeno saying this is not Uganda. If you want to extend your term, go to Uganda. And then there's BBI is illegal. The two, Raila and Uhuru, should not use the two-man agreement to overhaul the constitution. This is according to Ndungu Wanaina, who is International Center for Policy and Conflict Executive Director. Then we have those who are neutral to this report. We're having the DP, William Ruto, saying, let us ignore those using threats to support the report, whose content is not yet known. And then we have Musalia Mudavadi, ANC leader, saying, we'll wait until the report comes out and we'll then analyze it and take an informed position. Then we have Nzamba Kitonga, a lawyer, who says, we are not yet there. The position will certainly be made constitutional if the country is to go that way. Then we have those in support of this saying, say, for example, Quarter Secretary General saying, I said that about 3 years ago, that this country needs a constitutional amendment because those in leadership are still young from politics. And of course, he's referring to the president. Finally, we have Uhuru Kenyatta himself saying, I hear people claiming Uhuru Kenyatta wants to become Prime Minister of Kenya. I wouldn't mind being in leadership in such a post, though let us deal with the current situation first. And your sentiments on this, why are we so jittery about it? What is it about this report that is making us so without it even coming out, we are already up in arms, we're expecting it, we're predicting. Mr. Weda, what's your take on all this?
Now, let me tell you, the report has been out. What I think, as a thinker and analyst, is that when something sensitive is cooking, government would ordinarily leak out portions to gauge public mood, public reaction. And if there's strong reaction, they amend, they panel beat.
Yes.
So some of the bits and pieces you're hearing, oh, there will be prime minister, there will be none, there will be this, there will be this. Those, I believe, I can analyze and think that they're in the report. You leak them out so that you hear people are
gauge the
we have seen it even when cabinet is being appointed, some names are bandied around and then people react and then they are removed or they are enhanced and so on and so forth. There's nothing which has completely surprised people because government is not an individual.
Yes.
It's not only one person where you say if he keeps quiet, people. They are a series of people. They leak them out. They say this is what we are going to do, this is what we are going to do, that this is where we are going to do that. So parts of the information has come out. You will hear that when you want to even guess, you listen to Honorable Raila when he talks. And you can see he's saying we are going to change we are going to, in this report, we want to restructure government so that either we have a parliamentary system. Professor Nyong'o, my governor and my big brother in Senate, has written even a book on it, how parliamentary system is better than him. Now, you look at Professor Nyong'o, you look at Honorable Raila Odinga, then you can see the thinking. You don't need to pray and fast to see what they're thinking. You have heard the president himself also talking, we need to do this country need to have this. So parts of it have come out.
Yes.
And that is why people are reacting, so that you send a message. They send a message to prepare you so that you are not in shock, but people also react to send a message to say that we are watching. If you come to this, we will react this way. That is why there is a lot of eagerness now to read the report. And the same people now come and say, why are you reacting? Wait for the report. The report has come. It's only that the highly contentious areas where government can think that this one, if it goes to the referendum, will lose. They leave it. For instance, this parliamentary system. people who leaked it out, government I think leaked it out, and
Yes.
then people had it, and they also went and quickly told the Kikuyus, you know what they're saying? That your vote, 40,000, and a vote of for an MP or by an MP or who received 3,000 will be equal.
Yeah.
Then the Kikuyus are in harm. They're saying, please, President, don't joke with that. It is one man, one vote, 1 shilling, 1 acre, or whatever. So the president has to go back and say, no, let's address this so that we don't have a backlash.
Yes.
So the report, in my view, has been out in batches, and now the compiled one will come. When it comes, I would like to tell Kenyans, as long as there will be a referendum,
Right.
the country will be divided. Even if the BBI was to win 60%, the remaining 40%, it will also take another long time to heal. If government was to lose, there will be bitterness. Even if you combine President Uhuru and Honorable Raila, and they are doing telala TV, there are certain elements, if they turn out in the report, and they go into the bill that requires to change the constitution, I am telling you, government will have to spend a lot of resources to convince Kenyans, because what I see, the human beings are turning rogue.
Yeah.
A small thing started in Hong Kong, now they can't stop. It has taken a life of its own.
Yes.
Please also watch that as you take us into this.
Absolutely. And as you've seen, there are very different sentiments. Honorable Mtambo, those who are for, against, even before reading, and those who are neutral. Why do you think we are so eager about it? Do you agree, Mr. Wed?
I totally agree with Wed. And the reason why people are having a lot of hullabaloo about this, it is because the proposers of this BBI are none other than the people who has the mass behind them.
Okay.
You cannot ignore the fact that Raila has masses behind him. You cannot ignore that Uhuru Kenyatta has supporters behind him. And Article 1 of the Constitution, the sovereignty of this country, of this Constitution, rests with the people. And it is the people themselves who will decide what they want with their own constitution.
Yes.
So that's why, if it was just Weda talking about changing the constitution, nobody would be bothered.
Yes.
Somebody by Okuru court started saying, no, I will punguza mzigo. I don't know where that thing died. It vanished within the thin air.
Yeah.
But because the proposers of this amendment are the people, or are the leaders who have the people behind them. There is every reason for every person who has any political to start bickering around. And why I don't agree with those who are saying that BBI is illegal. BBI, nobody has pronounced it as law.
Yeah.
We said it here with Weda that BBI still remains a proposal.
Yes.
And the constitution can be changed by there's a process of changing the constitution. And this is one way of changing or amending the constitution. So somebody must bring up the idea, then you sell it out there to people. If you need to collect the signatures, if you need to follow the procedure of amending the constitution will be followed. So when somebody wakes up today and says BBI is illegal, I don't know what is illegal in changing or amending the constitution. To me, I think they are following the laid down procedures of amending the constitution. They came up with the ideas, and those who are saying that, they know that we have a problem in this country. I tried to amend the constitution myself, but nobody listened to me because nobody cares where Mutambo comes from. Okay? But because it is being said by now, the person or the people who has the masses behind them, there is a reason for them to be scared.
Absolutely.
I would urge Kenyans to wait and read what is in that report, because every Kenyan, be it president, be it Raila, be it Weda, be it you have a right to propose the amendment of the constitution if you follow the laid down procedure. Nobody can say that I own this country or I own these laws, so nobody should come in between. No, each and every individual, and Uhuru and Raila, they are Kenyans by own rights. They should bring the proposals if they so wish, and they did so. They did so. They brought proposals. So those who are opposing, they should tell us, no, we are opposing it and we have this. Nobody has proposed anything. Actually, I think the people who has proposed to amend the constitution in this country are four. First, number one was Joe Mutambo through parliamentary initiative. I did so. Second was Ekuro Court. The other two people is Raila and Uhuru. So in the list, and I want you, when you are writing books, the list of people who tried to amend the constitution in Kenya are only 4 up to now. I've not heard any other. The others are just talking in the funeral. I brought a process in parliament which went through the reading of the parliament, which went through the committees. Okay, and I sat down with the committees of parliament and I explained what I think. Okay, Ekuro Court went up to the counties. He collected signatures. Uhuru Kenyatta, they are now bringing up their BBI. So only 4 Kenyans who have tried to amend the constitution. And I want to believe this time around, the people who are behind BBI, they may succeed because they have the people behind them.
Absolutely. Now, the issue, you laughed when I mentioned the sentiments of Kotu Secretary General about him predicting that the executive is quite young and therefore he will be able to rule even more, and the possibility of a PM is being interpreted as him trying to extend his term. What's your take on this? And is it a very bad thing? Because we're having here Yashpal Gai, we know him as a constitutional lawyer, who says there's no problem if we're having that position installed.
You see, if we taking the leadership to Parliament, 210, I think they say they would want them to be 210.
Yes.
And you heard me talking about money exchanging hands in the toilet. We know these are our MPs.
Yeah.
They are not able to defend us today. When the president coughs, they just pass bills. Joe Mutambo here tried to amend the constitution, but he didn't talk to the owners of the MPs, those who own the MPs. So they laughed with him, and then they left him. He didn't even have money to give them. So his initiative went anywhere. It did not go anywhere. Not because they are not good initiative, but because he didn't own the people, and he didn't have money to pay the MPs. Now, you are telling us that in such a country, we will have these people deciding. They are not able to decide now. They are not even able to allocate resources. They are not even able to tell the executive, explain this, we will not give you this money before we give you this. They are only united when they increase their salaries. These are now the people you tell us that they will appoint the chief executive of this country. I see a problem. We need a stable democracy. The only place where there's that stability is in Britain. But there's the Queen seated there the last how many years? Here, we will be having a prime minister, okay, who, as long as you have a lot of money, you can buy people. For now, we are thinking about maybe President Uhuru is young, he may continue. But what about the country in another 20, 30, 50, 100 years? Democracies grow, they mature up. We don't tinker with them every corner, everywhere. Even those who support this, they support that. Do they think about our grandchildren? Because the creator of the universe says a good man invests for the children of his children. Every time you think, you don't think about yourself or your children, you think about the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren. What kind of country are we having? Jomo Kenyatta left for us a fairly stable country. Moi took it over, ran it, left us stable country. We were squabbling, Kidogo was a very stable. We brought in a constitution that is relatively stable, a bit of squabbling here and there, but we are moving. Now we want to go into the fundamentals, the core. And my big brother, Honorable Atuoli, him you love company. People who cling to powerful law. He's a great man. He has done a lot for the workers and the working. But if you can't call it quits, if you can't go and do other things, and you want also our president to continue so that even when you reach the desert of ideas, you have nothing new. There are countries, the neighboring countries we are talking about, the presidents have done very well. They have done a great job, but they have reached where they are in a desert. Nothing is moving. They're just jailing people. You go to another country down there, a small country, now they're jailing opponents. You go somewhere on the left, this side, the ideas are finished. That's why we are saying new leadership comes in. Even Obama has retired. He's out, he's still young. He can go back to teach at the university. He can give talks. President Uhuru has a lot of potential. He's a businessman. He doesn't have to continue being prime minister. So that we need. So it looks a good idea just for the sake of tinkering with the foundations. And tinkering with the foundations will plunge us into more chaos. Let the democracy grow. If we put structures that the voting system has credibility, If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. And then people move on. But tinkering, now we want a prime minister, and then you put the mitambos there, then they hide themselves in the toilet, then you go and flush them out with money. That, I think, will be the worst strategy and tragedy for this country. And I pray, Jehovah, please.
Yeah, Honorable Mtambo, this element about the possible PM position being, the Star is telling us Tanga MPs tell Uhuru they will reject BBI if it changes the structure of the executive, which Mr. Wede is terming as the foundation. But some of the allies are saying if push come to shove, the only thing they will reject is a monarchy. What's your take on the possibility of a PM job being installed, position rather?
You see, I look at it from legal point of view, although I'm not a lawyer. The moment we amend the Constitution, we will be now jumping into a system with a different Constitution. And if that Constitution does not bar even Mwai Kibaki to come back to power, if he is eligible by the same Constitution, we should bring Mwai Kibaki, not only Uhuru Kenyatta, even Moi, if he can. We remember we have had it before when we amended the Constitution, and we were saying, no, Moi should not run. But the fact was that, you know what, this is a new Constitution, and he's eligible. It's about the law. I will look at it from the legal point of it. If Uhuru wants to run and is permitted by the law, nobody should say you cannot.
Right.
If you want to be the Prime Minister or whatever, legally, nobody can stop him because we'll be using a different constitution, not the one we had before. But my take and my fear on this one is the mistrust we've been having with our leadership, with our leaders. I fear a scenario whereby people go to MOUs and the system of appointing or getting that Prime Minister. That is where my fear lies. The system of getting, how are we going to get that Prime Minister? Will he be elected like what Weda is telling us through a parliament, or will he be named by the so-called president who will be elected by people? And if people go into some sort of MOUs, we have seen a lot of MOUs which have not worked. That is where I put my caution, that whoever is going to enter into any MOU with anyone, they better be very careful, because there's a lot of likelihood that those MOUs may not work. And that may bring the country to the same problem we are trying to avoid. You will see somebody being promised, okay, let us make a coalition, and let me be elected the president, and I'll appoint you as the Prime Minister. I want to tell Kenyans, that will not work, because that person will not be appointed as a Prime Minister. I know, and forgiving Kenyans, we have the leaders we have in this country. And if one, by any chance, and I'm not saying who, becomes the president to appoint the other, I want to tell that other one who is expecting to be appointed to be very careful, because he may not get it. And that may take this country back to where, or to what we are trying to avoid. Because the narratives are that we are creating these positions so that the country should not fight. I want to tell you, that will be the recipe of the fight we are expecting in this country, because dishonoring those MOUs, and they have,
which happens a lot.
The chances are 99.9999% for them to happen. There is somebody, if that person gets that seat to appoint the Prime Minister, there is somebody I know will not appoint someone. Absolutely. That one I'm 100%
sure. Your concern
if it is where they're becoming the minister, the president to appoint Mutambu, I don't expect him to appoint me. There are those things, and Kenyans should know. It is out there. We know it. So I'm cautioning Kenyans to tread carefully with this BBI thing. If it comes with the Prime Minister being appointed by the president, who should be now a ceremonial president, or the president to be appointed by the parliament, then we will have every reason to worry, whether we'll have all the reasons to be scared what will happen in that parliament. Because if money changes hands, and I've been in that parliament and I've never seen money in toilets. But if the theory is anything to go by, I don't expect this BBI to cure the problem we are expecting. We must get a solution of getting these leaders, not through either an individual or through selected people or elected people to choose who will be in what position. We must come up, if it is the Prime Minister, let us elect him as well as we are electing the President. Let the Kenyans decide who becomes the President and who becomes the Prime Minister and who becomes the Deputy, other than having several people either in the Parliament or in the Chamber or someone appointing the other. The only people who should be appointed are ministers.
Yes, and it's the same reason why people jump from political outfit to the other after being betrayed, following a broken memorandum of understanding. Now, I'd like to bring your attention to the people. Well, the unity is one of the main things that they say this is for, so that we don't have political situations that we witnessed after the past election. And I'd like to point out a sentiment by Kimani Ichung'wah, who says, if the report will not address the challenges facing Kenyans, it will be rejected. Kenyans are more interested in development. And do you have any hopes that this will actually be addressing the concerns of Kenyans? We have more than just unity. We want a good economy. We want development at the grassroots level. We want devolution to work. There's so many other things that Kenyans want other than just, political calm.
Let me tell you that the problems that we are facing as a country do not emanate from the Constitution.
Yes.
The other Constitution that we replaced had been amended all over. But when we had a grand coalition government, a lot of work went on. It was work and bickering. They were bickering daily, and they were also working. You understand that?
Yes.
If you get the right person, you give him money and you give him a contract to do a road. You understand this? Even if the president and the deputy and the prime minister are bickering, the road will be built. Because they are united when they're going to inspect the road. They are saying, Bwana, we gave you money, we gave you time, this is the contract, where's the road? And any well-meaning leader will not say, if President Kibaki went to inspect that road, I will not accept. They go there, they jointly go there and say, give us the road, we gave you money. But then they come on their way back, they start bickering. You didn't give me what you promised me, you. So they were able to separate the country, and work went on. When it comes to selecting or appointing good people to positions, they will say, okay, Motambo is my friend on my side, but the other person will say, it's good, put him, it worked. If it doesn't work, we throw him out. That is how it works. So the problem is not in the Constitution. The problem is in the people, is in the heart. The Constitution does not steal. If I'm governor and I'm taking the money to my account, it is not the Constitution, it is me. You change the heart of man, not the Constitution. Therefore, the president has appointed, we have talked about some incompetent ministers. They didn't appoint themselves. They are not there by force.
Yes.
The Constitution just gave Mr. President power, appoint. But it didn't say it must be Mutambo. So that even if Mutambo is incompetent, he has to continue. He gave him, say, appoint, fire, until you're satisfied. So the problems we have today emanate from dishonesty of the heart and incompetence, inability.
Yes.
We have quite a number of incompetent people in certain vital positions. The result, disaster. We also have a lot of dishonest people in certain vital information. The result, corruption. They say, let me pick as much as possible, just in case I'm thrown out. So all these are not in the Constitution. Devolution itself is good. You send money to the governor, they allocate it for roads, whatever. If it was, they were to do it, it would work. But when they divert it, you don't go back to the Constitution, because the Constitution does not say if you are given money, you take 10%. Our problems are we have systems that are not running well.
Yes.
And those systems require knowledge. So, Mr. President, even if we are bickering, Honorable Raila is bickering with the President, people are bickering and we need peace, and if things were working, people would settle. Kenyans are not interested in kelele, they're interested in jobs. If all of us, the young people, had jobs where they go to, there'll be no people to run in the streets. But if they are idle, they are walking around and we are promises do not come. You go to hospital, there's no medicine. And it's not the Constitution taking the medicine from the hospital. It is the planning. Therefore, we may get our priorities wrong and then send people on a wild goose chase.
Yes.
Tell them, no, your problem, Katiba, your problem. We were told that from 1963.
Yes.
I was not there then, but when I read, each time they wanted to think and they tell you there's a problem with Katiba.
Yes.
There's a problem with Katiba. There's a problem with Katiba. This generation have come to the conclusion, no.
It's not
fix the
constitution.
Economy, fix security, fix whatever, and then we get on. You can fight as much. Look at Israel.
Yeah.
They go for election, they come out, there's no leader. They go again, there's no leader. Meanwhile, the country is stable.
Is running.
They are moving. They are that stability has nothing to do with Honorable Raila and Honorable Uru and Honorable Kalonzo and Honorable Musalia and Honorable Tambo loving each other and sharing cake and hugging. No.
Yeah.
It's about work and systems and structures.
You seem to echo some of the sentiments of some who were criticizing the whole process, who would say you cannot legislate some things. Yes. You cannot force people to be united, but you need to, for example, development, if there's money dished out for certain projects and they are stalled, you cannot, the BBI report cannot, come out and fix that. It's up to the leaders who are in charge of this, whether at the national level or at the devolved level at the grassroots. So do you agree on the sentiments that the people's needs should be paramount?
I disagree with the weather.
Yes.
On some certain level of thinking, because I don't think he answered your questions. And in reference to what Kimani Ichung'wah
said, yes,
said, that people want development. I don't think that Kenyans really matter or care of what you do to them when they go to vote or to make a decision. They don't make a decision based on the development you have done for them.
Oh, really?
They hardly do that, and I can give you a lot of examples. If Kenyans or people look at what you do to them, I will not be sitting here with the weather today as ex or former member of parliament.
Yeah.
Because if whatever I did to people of Mwingi Central, if they were to go to those records, they could have taken me back to parliament.
Okay.
They did not care little of what Mutambo did during his time as a member of parliament.
Yeah.
They only listened to the voice of the kingpin. And that is the direction they took. And this is my fear. When it comes to BBI, I want to tell you, during my visit in Kisumu, the development which I saw there, I saw flyovers, I saw so many things. Those people in Kisumu, they will not care whether Uhuru has done the flyovers or nothing. They will listen to what Baba says. Yes, and they will vote in that pattern. That is the only problem I'm having, and that is the only place I veer off from Weda's thinking. That Kenyans will not mind whether the contract was done and somebody went there and checked and it was done, it is okay, and then they come and fight in the boardroom. Yes. The problem with our Kenyans is that they don't think for themselves. They have other people think for them. Which is unfortunate. And which is quite unfortunate. And that is where this BBI may have to go through because we'll listen to our leaders, what they are telling. And that's why you see now, I read what is written here. All these people trying to position themselves. You will see a lot of people are trying to position themselves to be now the lovers or the darling of others. You saw Mutua, who was a strong critic of Raila, now trying to sugarcoat and saying now I'm very close to Raila. And before he was calling Raila all the names. These are the kind of things I really don't believe in. If you do not believe in someone, do not believe in them simply because you want to take a position. They have realized, our term has come to end as governors. We have nowhere to go, so we have to align ourselves with the BBI so that we may get our positions. All these people you see here, most of them, the governors who are finishing their terms, they are running to Raila because they have no other business in the politics. They are finished, consumed, period, spend forces. Governors. That's why you see, and I want to echo the person who made this headline, the names that BBI will make or break. Because there are people who are now waiting to ride on the wave of BBI, and it's now they will go there and tell Baba, you know, Baba, we were with you, with the BBI, can you position us somewhere?
Yeah.
There's nothing much they have. They had no love for Baba. If you are critic for Baba, be like whether the way he tells them, the way he tells president, tell the president the way it is, not because you want his job, but because you care for the country. I've never seen these people highlight issues or talk so passionately about our country. They only talk about themselves, and that's what they are trying to do today.
What would it take for Kenyans to change how they make political decisions? Because this is democracy, but it cannot be real democracy if you're thinking about one individual. It goes against the whole point of it at the end of the day.
I think it will take some ages for this country to change.
Yeah.
Because when we have some Mutambus and Wenders who tell the people as it is, I was the first person to stand against Kalonzo and tell him, my party leader, I think this is the wrong choice you are making. We went to do some election for Wiper, and I was trying to be a member, or to be the Secretary General. And he gave that position to somebody, and I told him, you know what, this position you have given to a refugee. I said it there. Within 3 months, the guy left the party, and he went. And I told him, you see what I told you?
Yeah.
Now you're in trouble. Today, I could see Sifuna going to Kalonzo's bedroom and insult Kalonzo in Mutonguni. And there's nobody who can talk because Kalonzo has got nobody to speak for him. There's nobody to defend him. And when you see such a things, say them as they are.
Right.
Don't just come near them because you want a position. If I wanted to be a member of parliament, I could have sat near Kalonzo and I tell him, no, Kalonzo Wiper, you will be the next president, and I will be the member of Mwingi Central. But I stood with Uhuru because I believed in Uhuru until today, and that is where I am. So I will support this thing because I believed in the ideas which I saw with Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta.
Right.
The people are coming today to elbow out Weda. When Weda was supporting Uhuru in Kisumu, when they were burning his cars, when they were trying to lynch him, they were not seeing anything. But the day Raila shook hands with Uhuru, everybody now is there. Weda is nowhere. Nobody is talking about Weda. Nobody is talking about Mutambo now in Ukambani. They said Jubilee is a bad party. It is being aired by, they call them all the names.
Yes.
And I was called all the names in Ukambani. But today, all the campers are behind Uhuru simply because Kalonzo went there. So this is what I'm saying. They don't make their own decision. They follow what their leaders tell them. And this is quite unfortunate.
Often political or tribal kingpins.
Allow me to react on what it will cost to change.
Yes.
I've said in this program again and again, and I keep on saying that pain is the seed for change.
Yeah.
Life is a series of choices. The way your life turns out depends on the choices you make.
Yeah.
If you see big people, if you see Kipchoge, it is the choices he made, the decision, the goals, the vision.
Right.
So if somebody wants a member of parliament who is going to support Baba or is going to support Kalonzo, that is their funeral. If the schools have desks, they don't have medicine. I'm telling you, Baba himself has no problem with medicine. Mutambo here has no problem.
No,
I have learned before, I would be like God, thinking these people need this. But when you now get close to Jehovah, he tells you the heart of man is always inclined to evil.
Yeah.
So please, just make your decisions as you move. So some of these people, let them bear the weight. Let them follow the leaders. If the leaders take them into the ditch, you look at the ditch and say, hey, hallelujah, praise the Lord. And you walk away because they created themselves. They even chose. When God came in person down here and told them, I've come to liberate you, they put him on the cross. They said, don't joke. So until our people realize that the choices they make determine their lives, and that they will not make until there is so much pain that they ask themselves, where did we go wrong?
Absolutely.
Then they say it is leadership. Then they say, this time we want leadership that will lead us to our needs.
Yes.
There's a difference between wants
and needs. Yes.
Needs are things that enable you to function. Like we need food.
Yeah.
But we want sports. We want to play football, but inside
Right.
we need food. So until you're able to distinguish between your needs and your
Yes.
wants, if you mix them, your wants become ahead and you end up in the ditch.
Absolutely. For example, the people in Pokot today need evacuation
Yes,
centers.
that's
That
what
is
they need to
a
survive,
need.
to be alive, to
Yes.
remain alive. They need that, they need a shelter, they need food.
Right.
But if you go there and tell them, you people, I've come with BBI and I've come with Honorable Raila and I've come with the Uhuru, they'll tell you, we want a BBI. You find somebody below the sewer line doing politics before he tells you, my brother or sister.
Yes.
Before you talk to me about this, tell me about medicine. Tell me about food. Tell me about shelter. Tell me about school.
Yes.
Tell me about roads. Tell me about evacuation. They don't know. But they know. People like Mutambo know so much that when they saw President Uhuru, he could put his seat on, the political seat, on the table. He says, this is what I think. If you don't see what I see, chop it.
That is it.
And they chopped. And he's out. But you can see now his chairman running around all over. I'm not saying whatever. He's like he's saying, I've made my decision.
Yes,
I think
and
I know where
stood by
I'm going.
it.
If people are not going with me, too bad.
Yeah.
I'll go.
Yeah, I'd like you to weigh in on an issue that Honorable Mutambo has actually brought up, this one of political alignments based on your career situation, because they say this report is actually going to determine, aside from the executive, Deputy Ruto and the President and Raila Odinga, we are also having these governors and other politicians just aligning themselves on the basis of their political careers and what it reflects.
Yes, quite a number of these people, like, governor looks bigger.
Yes.
Bigger in terms of politics, it's almost bigger than some cabinet positions. And bigger than a senator, bigger than MP. So this thing of having been big, you don't want to become small. If I was in some of their shoes, I don't mind if I was governor and becoming an MCA. To me, if it did not matter, it would not change anything.
Yeah.
But now they try to look. Just wait. If they realize that if the president was to de-handshake and embrace Ruto, you'll see them saying, God sent William Samoei Ruto to save this country. And we love Ruto so much that you will see the same people.
Yeah.
That is exactly what they are doing to Honorable Raila now. You see his governor, my governor, Mutua. When you see that, you see hypocrisy. And that is what ordinarily people should say, no, this kind of level of hypocrisy is not good for us.
Yeah.
So there are some alignments based on your own projections. And actually these people succeed more in politics because politics is generally thriving on deception.
Yeah.
So when you want to be realistic the way my brother here was realistic, then I call it foolishness. And when you are fool, you don't succeed. You insist, this is what I want, this is what I see, it looks to me clear, the other people don't see it, then they do away with you.
Yes.
But I know in the long run, if you do what is right, if the foundation is right, you are always proved right. So some of these realignments we are seeing, we are not seeing, some are going to Raila because of President Uhuru. Some, and I think that is where Governor Mutua is falling.
Yeah, as we saw in Kebra during the campaigns.
Yes, it's going because of President Uhuru. Some are going because they perceive maybe Honorable Raila will be very influential and they want to see him in there. Some are also going to President Uhuru because they think he may end up being Prime Minister and then make them cabinet. It is all about individual.
Yes.
It is not about the country. It's not about anything. I don't know. I respect my teacher and Governor McQueen, a good guy, very independent-minded. I don't know why he would be flip-flopping on this matter, Raila here, Raila there. I don't know whether it's age, because otherwise a great human being. I don't know when age comes, or the fear of being out of power, which I know he wouldn't care whether he's governor or not. So this one, it is the combination to give us the interpretation. What happened to great people like Professor at this? But the alignments have nothing to do with Kenya or loving the country or stability. It has something to do with the future.
Honorable Mutambo, now as we wind up, there's the quote here from the president who says, only a fool will say there are no issues in this country that require addressing. And obviously the BBI, in his view, will address some of these issues. So in your opinion, briefly, is it relevant? Is this what the country needs right now?
I will not contradict my president. He is just following my footsteps.
Okay.
Because I was the first person to say there's something which needs to be changed.
Yeah.
I saw that change in 2013. Right, not now. Actually, I think I was 3 months old in Parliament,
Yes.
and I read the Constitution, and I saw what is happening and what may happen in Kenya. The day we received the budget policy paper, I looked at it the first time and I said something is wrong before we even passed that budget.
Yeah.
And I brought the proposals to amend the Constitution. I saw it myself. So what he's saying, I said, how many years back from today? 6 years down the line or 7 years down the line?
Yeah.
I said it. So what he's saying is just following my footsteps because I saw the need of amending the Constitution.
Okay.
So there is need to amend the Constitution. There's need to change the way we do our business in this country.
All right.
What I do not agree with, it is the group of people now I see emerging, okay, trying to be now the prophets.
Yeah.
And they were there opposing, strongly opposing. Because when I said we need to amend the Constitution, I was literally opposed by everyone. Everybody called me all the names. But today, they are behind, they are singing Baba. I think they are saying Baba more than 10 times before they sleep. All right? Why? Because of the same thing Weda is bringing forward.
Right.
That they think Raila will be so strong, and if you oppose him, you will also disappear within vicinity of political scene. And they are not doing it because they love the country. I don't think, and allow me to address this particular one because I'm a Kamba.
Yes.
I saw Mutua trying to be crowned as a Kamba spokesman, kingman.
Yes,
and he was
king.
being dressed with some laces and being given some bows and arrows.
Yeah.
I don't think it is the time Mutua realized he need to be the Kamba kingpin. He has just looked at his term is ending, and he's asking my Mutua, with all my dramas, where am I going to end?
Yes.
And he has got nowhere to go.
Right.
So he has to go back and convince the world. And he's actually lying to Kenyans. And the Kenyans tend to believe that, you know, I went to Kitui and I got a seat from Kalonzo's bedroom. And here I am. I'm the person now who is accepted by the Kambas.
Speaking for the region.
And I'm the one who is speaking for the... I want to tell Kenyans now, Mutua is not a kingpin of Kambas and is not a spokesman of a Kambas. It's just one person.
He's strategizing.
He's trying to position himself.
Yeah, Mr. Weda, conclude this for us. Do we need it briefly?
I think, first of all, Mr. President, please mind your language. This term's full. Leave it for smaller beings like Weda. Yeah. You are a prince, you are a president. You have people who support, there are people who are, we have people who are highly educated, people who are literate. You have all sorts of people. You lead us. So when you make a statement, don't say that if some people go on one side, they are fools. If other people go on the other side, then they are brilliant.
Right.
That is not from the president. I expect that from some charlatans. But my president, I want you to... All this diversity, you listen to them, you take them, and then you give us direction to those who love you. Number two, I still insist on what is called order of priority.
Okay.
All things we need, all of them, we need them. We want them, we desire them. Order of priority. If you go to economics, we talk about scarcity of resources.
Yes.
If you go into the Jehovah's kingdom, order. So, in order of priority, what do we want first? Food, jobs, medicine, then constitution, then all these things. If you get it topsy-turvy, there are some people who will be wiped out in landslides like this one. Even if you have the perfect constitution, when landslide comes, they need medicine. They don't need the constitution. They can't eat the constitution.
Right, absolutely. Thank you very much, gents, Mr. Our Canon Ambrose Weda and former Member of Parliament from Mwingi, Joe Mutambo. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure to have you on the show.